So when Paul gets wind of this and he hears of this, when he's made aware of the problems, he writes First Corinthians. This is where the First Corinthian letter comes from to address these issues. To Paul, having heard what was going on, it was evident that they had veered away from the teaching. He had not taught them, to divide and not work together. Of course, what he was sharing was the togetherness and the love that's necessary when he was beginning the church plant. And so what he sees when he sees the problems that have arisen, he's heard that there's selfishness. He's heard that there's comparisons with gifts, the spiritual gifts, and the divisions that are going on. So he realizes, he says, I've got to get back to the basics. How many of you know when you have a problem, sometimes you just have to go back to the basics? And that's really the covering theme that I have for today's lesson. It's titled, the lesson is The Greatest Gift is Love, but my cover theme that I want us to think on is back to the basics, going back to the basics, going back to the foundation, remembering your why, remembering why was this church started, and what is our intent, and what is our purpose, and what is our motive. When we hear the term back to the basics, it's a term that's used, in our day. It means returning to fundamental principles, core values, or essential elements. It's when you simplify and do away with all the complexities. Just get back to the basics. You cut out all the fat, right? You remember your why. And so this is what Paul is determined needs to happen, because they've gotten distracted. Sometimes you get distracted and you forget your why. And this is when dissensions and other problems can crop up, which is what happened. So he says we need to get back to the why. And how many of you know that the root of all relational problems, typically, the root of that, when you go through and get down to the bottom of it, when you're having problems with a person or a group of people, there's some lack of love. Somewhere there's some lack, love is not being displayed like it needs to be. There's some unselfish concern. That's the definition for love. Unselfish concern. And so when we think about going back to the basics, and Paul's thought of going back to the basics, we can think about the very gift of salvation. How was salvation even initiated? John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world." He initiated salvation. He initiated the means for man to be reconciled to him. So when God moves, he operates in a place of love. Jesus to reconcile us. This is what I found to be interesting. That this is really God isn't playing when he talks about love. Like Sister Brown said, it's got to be genuine. It should be authentic. The Bible says in Romans 12 that love is without dissimulation. It's not hypocritical. It's not phony. It's not fake. It's genuine. God's not going to just accept a good deed and say, okay, they're loving. God is looking at the hearts and desires it to be genuine. But look at when he talks about sacrificial giving. He says in verse 3, "And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor," I'm giving away everything. I give away everything to feed the poor. "And though I give my body to be burned," I am physically impairing myself. I'm allowing myself to give on such a level of sacrifice. "But if I do it and I don't have love, it profiteth me nothing." Lose, lose. I gave everything I had. I lost everything, but I didn't do it with love, so I still lost. Lose, lose. Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking of the question that Elder Lamar said. Is love easy or hard, and why?
Oh, that's a question.
Is love easy, or is love hard?
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I guess he didn't get a chance to address the question. We're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. So, going with the sacrificial giving, why would somebody give all that they have, leaving themselves without anything? Why would you give yourself to be burned or to be hurt or harmed? I mean, a personal sacrifice that hurts you, and it's not out of love. Why? Why give everything to benefit the poor if you're not doing it out of love? Sometimes people do things, like I said, you can't judge the deed. Sometimes people do things because they want to project an image. It's not what's in their character, it's not their heart. They just want it to look a certain way. That's why when we do a thing, we got to check our heart. We got to check our motives. Why? What is driving me to do this? Why? And the thing about it is, it looks the same. If I come up, if I say, oh, I want to be, it's a hospitality, and I want to be hospitality, and I want to be able to bring the water to the speakers. I'm bringing the water to speakers because I want to make sure that they, they're well hydrated before they speak. Now, if I'm doing that because I really want to be a help to the ministry, that's great. But if I'm doing that so they can see me when I walk on the pulpit, and that's not a good thing. It looks the same. God knows the heart. God knows the heart. I'll be an usher because I get to walk around and stand up. Who knows? I'm just giving examples, y'all. But my point is, it may look the same, but God knows the heart. We ought to be governed by love. And love is having a heart for people. Here comes Elder Moon. Come on, Elder Moon.
Just one quote. Jesus said, greater love is this, that ye have love one to another. And see, if you have love one to another, that cancels out all fault. Because you have greater love. The greater your love, the greater your faith, the greater your respect one to another. You respect God, you respect your brother. So this is the essence of what God is trying to get over and what the instructor is trying to convey, that you must love ye one another.
Thank you, Elder Moon. Thank you. Thank you for that. That takes me to the command that Jesus says that we must love God and then love others as we love ourselves. So the order is that you love God, then you love you, and then you love others. And also remember, God said, the Bible says that if ye love me, you'll keep my commandments. Walking in love will help you to obey what God desires us to do, which would affect our relationships, which would affect how we treat one another. God tells us how we ought to do things. And if we love God, then we'll keep his commands. We love God, we love ourselves, and then we can love others. We're going to move on, verses 4 through 7. Verses 4 through 7. Verse 4 and 5, let's start there. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. Love is what's necessary to keep us together. Think of love as the glue. When you think about love, I told you it's also the foundation. But love isn't just the foundation, it's the mortar. It's what's keeping it all together, right? That's what we see in these two verses. It takes patience. It's going to take you, when it talks about envying not and you don't puff yourselves up. See, that competition, that's not God when we're comparing ourselves like that. That's not love. The improper behavior, being selfish, none of this, being easily provoked or triggered, that's the word we hear. Being triggered. See, when we do things, when we don't operate with these types of behaviors of, when we operate with not envying and doing those things, we are keeping our relationship intact. We are keeping our relationship with one another. This is representative of how we treat each other. We're patient with one another. We don't get puffed up. We don't boast around others to make ourselves better. This is how you get along with others. This is all based on love. Then verses 6 and 7, it says, it rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. It beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, and endureth all things. This portion, when I thought of love, if you recall in Corinthians, Paul, and also in this letter, Paul talks about the members of the body, how we are all one body with several members. and we must all work together, and the foot cannot tell the hand, and we all have our areas. But consider the skeletal part of a body. If we think about the skeletal part, that's what supports the body. That's love. The skeletal part is within the whole entire body, and it keeps us connected. And that's what these 6th and 7th verses is letting us see, how we can stay connected. We don't rejoice when someone falls in iniquity because we're supporting. The skeletal supports the body. We rejoice in truth. We beareth all things doesn't mean that you just take anything. It means we can handle the weight of difficulty. And it helps us to get along with one another. It helps us to be supportive of one another. And so that's what we're seeing in those couple of verses. I'm moving quickly because I know our time is short, and I still also want to address Mother Hartwell, which she said that Elder Lamar mentioned. And we're going to get to that in these next passage of scriptures, which is verses 8 through 12. Verses 8 through 12 is so interesting. I really got a lot from this passage. I'm going to read that really quickly in your hearing. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 8 through 12. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, even as also I am known. What this is letting us know is that love is eternal. Love will last longer. Remember, I talked about the foundation of the building. The foundation of a building, when they go to destroy a building, if they just knock it down, you still see the foundation. It takes more work to get that foundation destroyed, to remove the foundation. It lasts longer. With our skeletal system, it's the last part of our body that's decomposed, the skeleton. When everything else starts decomposing, the last thing that's going to decompose is the skeleton. Love lasts longer. Don't get caught up in the spiritual gifts and have not love, because after some time, when it says when the perfect, when the perfect time has come, or the time of perfection where there's no evil present, those things are going to go away. We're not going to need the tongues and the prophecy, because those were things we needed to edify one another. But when that perfect time comes and evil is gone, love is what's going to remain. It says when you compare the spiritual gifts to love, it's like apples and oranges. In the present, gifts at best are incomplete because the tongues are going to stop. The prophecies, they will cease. They will fail. We know in part. We don't have it all. It's incomplete. In eternity, the gifts are gone. They're unnecessary. We don't even need them. Why invest in something that's not even going to last? It's partial at best in earth, and in eternity, it's totally obsolete. Now, when it comes to love in present, this is what I found to be interesting, because what it was letting us know, when I looked at verse 9, for we know in part and we prophesy in part, then verse 10, but when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. Then when it goes to verse 11, I got a little, when I was a child. Why is it going back to when I was a child? I spake as a child. I understood it's talking about being a child versus being a man, and then it comes back. It seems like verse 10, verse 12 picks up with verse 10 left off. For now we see things in a glass darkly, but then face to face. And what it's really letting us know is that in this state that we are in, we will never actually be able to operate in a perfect state of love. The best we can do is partiality. We'll be partiality expressing love at our best because we're in an immature state. Think about God's agape love compared to our love. Even, you can think, I think the love of a mother is a great love for her children. But even in comparison to God's love, it's immature at best. So what we're seeing here and what Paul is sharing here is that love, it is challenging. if God has given us to share and to be examples of love, help us and increase us in love, Lord. Where we fall short, help us, God, to stop and to truly focus on being that ambassador you desire us to be. We want to represent you. We want to represent you in love. We want to be lights. This is how men will know that you are our disciples. It's not just in the